Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, as you release that tension with your eyes closed, feel you're getting closer and closer to a place, not a real place. Breathe in and breathe out, but a place where change can take place. And you've been to this place many times in your life. Breathe in and breathe out as you recall those times in your life. You were in a deep state of reflection, of deep thinking, a place that led to big decisions. Those decisions changed your life, moving it in a different direction. They weren't spontaneous. Thought was invested, reflected, and you considered your life without that decision and what it would look like with that decision. You considered different timelines. And when you realized that the timeline that was more like how you wanted your life to be was more desirable than staying the same, that inner experience of imagining a future activated the resource of decisiveness that led to a change. As you breathe in and breathe out, feel even deeper relaxed. Scan your body for any clues of tension and just let that tension go. Loosen the muscles around your jaw, eyelids. That's it, deeper and deeper relaxed. Releasing any tension in your neck and your shoulders. Breathing in even deeper than before, and then as you exhale, just letting go, releasing that tension. Now, that's it. Your unconscious mind already knows how to get to a place that we can call hypnosis, or a place that we can call introspection, reflection, or just harnessing your imagination. But so long as it's that place, a place where change happens, then we can get to where we need to get to. So as you breathe in and breathe out, releasing any tension, feeling more relaxed, still aware of the sound of my voice, but more importantly, of your internal experience. I want you to imagine going inwards into your mind. Imagine your mind like a corridor with many doors. And I want you to walk down that corridor until you find a door that you feel is responsible for perhaps desires and compulsions. And when you find that door, let me know by nodding your head. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, open the door, walk inside, and you can see what looks to be like a control room. And there's a particular dial, switch, or gauge that represents a desire to chew your fingernails. And you could probably see it's set to a certain number. And sometimes it's low and sometimes it's high, but every time it gets to a certain point, past a threshold, probably of 8 or 9, then there is an irresistible desire, a temptation to start chewing your fingernails. But I wonder how badly you would desire to chew your fingernails if just one variable was changed. Breathe in, breathe out, and just consider that if there are no consequences given that your nails grow back anyway of chewing your nails, the compulsion can be high. But when your hands are dirty, notice how the compulsion goes all the way down. That if you were mopping the floor and some of that wet dust got on your fingertips or fingernails, your desire to chew your nails would go all the way down. Or perhaps if you were just cleaning your bathroom and when you were cleaning inside the toilet, some toilet water splashed on your fingertips. Perhaps that desire to chew your nails would be low for perhaps days, if not weeks. I want you to get a sense that remember a time when you were working with your plants and maybe certain bits of soil got under your fingernails. And again, you can recall how the desire was so low it didn't feel like a compulsion. You didn't need discipline or willpower. The desire was low. So your unconscious mind already knows how to neutralize any desire to chew your fingertips, simply by adding one additional ingredient. And that is what your fingertips have been near recently. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a plate of ketchup. Imagine the smell, look at the texture. Imagine it close enough for you to smell that smell crawling up your nostrils. I want you to imagine dipping all of your fingertips into the ketchup. For some people that desire ketchup, they would love licking their fingertips until there was nothing left. But for you, notice the idea of ketchup on your fingertips would mean that desire to chew your fingernails would be 0 or 1. And if that's correct, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to imagine someone you know is nearby. Imagine how much money they would have to offer you for you to still continue to chew your fingertips, even if they had ketchup all over them. Notice that even a high amount still wouldn't be enough. That's how low the desire would be. It might be that it would have to be tens of thousands for you to even consider, and even then you would do it reluctantly. And if your unconscious mind acknowledges that if you really had a desire to chew your fingertips, you would chew them even if they had ketchup on. And therefore the conclusion must be that you don't want it that badly. And if that's correct, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to imagine the last time you were mopping the floor. I want you to see a big clump of wet dust. And just imagine seeing that wet dust. And again, making sure the wet dust ends up under that tiny gap between the fingernail and your skin. Think of a particular finger where that wet dust would be. And try your hardest to imagine bringing that finger up to your mouth and try and find a desire to chew it, noticing that wet dust is there under the fingernail. Notice that the harder you try to chew that finger, the more that the disgust increases. If you feel that under no circumstances would you have any desire whatsoever to chew that fingernail with that wet dust underneath, let me know by nodding your head. And then imagine being at work, sitting at your desk. And I want you to imagine that you find yourself chewing on your fingernail, but you want to train your brain to have a different habit. You've got many options. You're probably less than a minute away from a bathroom and you could just dip your fingertips in the toilet water, knowing that it would dry within seconds, but you would know that your fingertips have been in the toilet water. But I want you to imagine you continue with your work, and 15 minutes later, you unconsciously start chewing your fingertip, the very fingertip that's already been dipped in toilet water. Notice that visceral reaction of realizing that the water that was in the toilet was then under your fingertips and around your nails and is now in your mouth. And I wonder what you might do. Maybe rush to the bathroom to spit into a sink, rinse your mouth out. I want you to feel that you would do anything to neutralize this perception that there is germs and bacteria and toilet water in your mouth because it was on your nails and because you chewed on it. Just feel that visceral feeling of disgust and realize that you've got many other options. I want you to imagine you're out and about. You find yourself bringing your fingertips up towards your mouth. But instead of chewing your fingertips, I want you to imagine that you open your handbag or purse and see a tiny pot of glitter. Whichever finger you're about to chew, just imagine dipping it into the glitter and then trying your hardest to forget about it. And it might be that again, moments later, you forget about the glitter, bring the nail up to your mouth, but instead of that satisfying chewing sensation of chewing your nail, all the glitter is now on your tongue, in your mouth, almost like grit or sand in your mouth. But you might be out in public. You might be on a train or a bus or just out with friends, and now you've got glitter in your mouth. Even the idea of it reduces the desire, because now you're giving a problem for your unconscious mind to solve. And the best way for your unconscious mind to solve this problem and avoid chewing on ketchup or soil, wet dust or toilet water or glitter is to have that dial of desire to chew your nail set all the way at 0. And every time it isn't at 0 and you find your fingertips going towards your mouth, it's an opportunity for you to train your brain to have a reason to have brand new neural pathways that allow your mind to do whatever it takes to avoid your fingers getting close to your mouth. I want you to imagine sometimes to move forward, we need a moment that is unpleasant to give the pleasant future. And if your unconscious mind would be willing to maybe have that experience of wet dust or ketchup or toilet water or glitter just enough to never chew your fingertips ever again, let me know by nodding your head. But that may not be necessary, because now you know how to train your mind. Your mind is probably already thinking of how it could avoid even that very first experience. So if your unconscious mind is willing to do what's necessary so it never gets to that point in time, also let me know by nodding your head. And you can release the idea that you have a compulsion to chew your nails, because a true compulsion would mean that you would chew them if they were covered in glitter or ketchup, or wet dust or toilet water, or soil or bacteria or fish guts. The fact that you wouldn't proves it's not a compulsion, just a habit. And the easiest way to change a habit is to make it so it's no longer desirable. So as you listen to my voice and breathe in and breathe out, realize that whenever you think of that as a possibility, you're training your brain, but more importantly, the very next time you have a desire to chew your nails, will instead put an idea into your head to test how badly you really want to chew your nails. You will find an irresistible urge to add something to your nails to bring the desire all the way down. The more you do it, the quicker your mind will recalibrate, reorganize, like a phone or a computer installing updates. So that bit of software in your brain that has this ludicrous idea that chewing your nails is satisfying just changes the word satisfying to disgusting or childish or something else. And when the updates have been updated, let me know by nodding your head. Breathe in and breathe out. Feel like you're returning to the present. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect fully with the present moment. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken feeling resourceful, confident, noticing that that dial in the control room is still all the way down. Just thinking about the possibilities has reduced it all the way down. And you can want to chew your nails, but now any thoughts of chewing your nails will mean that you will have a price of admission to test how badly you really want it. At which point you'll discover you don't really want it at all. Breathing in, breathing out as I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.